Okay, so take up a shoulder width posture. Very often we end up with a hip width posture. And so if you see where you're standing and imagine the width of your hips, do they correlate with the outside of your foot? What we really need is to open up wide enough so that when the arms hang down, you can look down the outside of your arm and it correlates with the outside of your foot. So we're giving ourselves a nice, generous, open stance. Very, very often people stand very, very close together, but it's about opening. And when I studied medical Qigong, we were talking about even 10 or 20% bigger than a standard shoulder width stance. So going wide is not a problem. What we're looking for is complete stability and comfortable, of course. The opening exercise comes from the very core of the body. So we're trying to move from deep inside the belly. It looks like it might be the shoulders that are moving, but it's not. It's really the very core of you that moves. Allow the arms to hang down by your sides and gently turn and look back over your shoulder. Turn your waist and look back over your shoulder. And then come back to the front and do the same on the other side. So these initial couple of turns just give us a little reading of how our back's feeling today, what's going on. See if the back is okay. And then we can start to move more freely from the waist, allowing the arms to hang completely loose, allowing the arms to tap onto the body as we turn. So it's the momentum of the turn that swings the arm, that allows the arm to tap onto the body. You can open up the palms and let them slap on the side of the body. You can feel the forearm just gently thumping onto the tummy. And you can feel the back of the forearm or the wrist tapping onto the small of your back. We try and keep our knees just a little bit bent. So not straight, unlocked. It doesn't have to be more than just a tiny unlock, as it were. Drop down an inch or so. So I had an interesting day yesterday. Yesterday afternoon, everything started to go slightly wrong. My Outlook stopped working on my phone and it just took forever to fix, and it was just very annoying. The company who I thought should have been doing better by me received some few choice words from me. I was getting rather sort of het up about the situation and felt I was being dealt with very unfairly. Various other little things just started to unwind badly. And then my wife said to me, "How's your afternoon going?" And I said to her, "Oh, it's not going well. I'm feeling upset about everything. I'm feeling upset about the war in Ukraine. I'm feeling upset about the cost of living crisis." And she just looked at me, and then I sneezed. And both of us kind of went, aha. And it was just this kind of moment of realization that something was actually going on in my body. And so these days, it used to take me 2 days to figure out something was going wrong. But these days I have much more body awareness. And so it took about 2 hours for me to figure out that something was happening inside my body. And it's interesting because it's very important to see the emotional connections to the things that are occurring inside you. It cannot be taken out of relation, as it were. And so when I sneezed, I suddenly thought, oh my goodness, I've just spent 3 or 4 days on an air, 3 or 4 days. I've just, 3 or 4 days ago, I was on an aeroplane, lots of people sneezing and coughing and spluttering. I went for a swim on Monday in the pool, and sometimes, I end up getting a cold. It's always very minor that, picking up some tiny infection from going swimming. And it always sets my mood off kilter. And I've got a very sort of standard response to it. I once read an article that said that something like 70% of all colds and flus start with bacteria in the eustachian canal of your ear. And the recommendation was that you just use, I use that thing from Boots called Otex, which you just put a few drops in your ear and you just lie there for a few minutes and it just gently cleans out your ear, and then you have a shower or whatever. And so the other thing I do is I have a Chinese prescription of, it's just a sort of a cold prescription, a standardized thing that Chinese doctors sell in there. You don't see so many of them these days, but the Chinese doctors' shops, a lot of them in London. And so I keep a stock of that, and I think to myself, hello, sneeze, there's a cold going on here. I clean up my ears. Before I go to bed, I take a dose of this Chinese medicine. And this morning, I feel like I'm resurrected and the world is no longer upsetting me. But it is interesting to see that as the bacteria, as the battle takes place inside one's body, it also affects one's mood as well. And I think it's not a, brainstorm. It's not suddenly, oh my goodness, lightning strike. I think we've always known these kind of things, but it's very interesting to monitor it in your own self. Because of course we all have challenges to deal with. And it might be that you're working away with a sore back or a sore knee or something more dramatic than that. But the constant pressure of having to work away with something can lead to dramatic changes in your mood and in your personality. And I remember a long time ago in a relationship with someone who was very volatile. And I used to sort of say, you can choose not to behave like this, don't you? Which only ever made that person more upset. But the truth was that one time she said to me, I understand what you're saying. I'm going to choose to not behave like this today. And I thought, well, there we go. There's a sort of a self-awareness that's, come to the situation. And so you can bring your own self-awareness to your moods and see what's going on for you and choose not to be driven by it. The second that I'd self-diagnosed, some sort of viral or bacterial battle going on inside my body, I was able to stand back from it and say, okay, so that's the body dealing with something. That's fine. Let's not get upset about it. Let's not let it sort of, spoil things. Let's just accept that that's going on and that I can do something about it. And then suddenly all of the pressure of the day came off, and it was kind of like, oh, thank heavens for that. I've discovered why I'm feeling so upset. And now I can move on from it. Okay, so let's just move into the second phase of this little exercise. What we're going to do is we're going to slow down a bit and just make it a longer version. So now you can really look back over your shoulders. Use your neck in this exercise as well. So we've just kind of gone from most of the back to all of the back, just by adding the neck part of this into it as well. So just be aware, this exercise can sometimes make you feel a bit dizzy. If you feel lightheaded, just connect your toes to the ground. So really feel the ground you're standing on. If you're wearing shoes, it doesn't matter, that's fine. But what we're doing is we're experiencing the pressure of the big toes connecting downwards. And then move along to the next toe and the next toe and the next toe, all the way down to the little toe. One by one, press each toe and feel and experience the connection of the toes into the ground. You can feel the ball of the foot, how it presses against the ground. When you put your mind into this process, the chi in your body starts to move downwards. You no longer have to feel lightheaded and wobbly. So you can just put your mind in your toes, and hopefully the chi starts to balance itself out. The next exercise we do is all about calming and relaxing that as well. So don't worry about that. We'll get there in a moment. Yeah, so the final thought on yesterday afternoon is just that. It's just that we have to, through doing our Qigong, we bring much more awareness to our body. We start to listen better to what's going on, to understand our bodies a bit better. And as we start to understand them better, we can start to bring more understanding into our life as a whole, I suppose. And so the next time you find yourself feeling upset, feeling cross, feeling worried, of course, just remember that every thought creates an emotion, and every emotion creates a chemical cascade through your body. But that can also be hijacked by viruses or bacteria. They can also create these kind of chemical cascades through your body. So whether it be something that's upset you, that's now, manifesting itself in your body through feeling, or whether it's something that's, an invasion of some sort, an invasion of a bacteria or a virus, at least you have this idea that you can sit and think, what is going on? And then start to come to some sort of conclusion about what it is, and hopefully start to come to some sort of conclusion about what you can do about it. And very often the answer is just do 20 minutes of Qigong. When you're just feeling a bit riled, stop and do some exercise, stop and go for a walk. And certainly I use walking as a tool, as a sort of settling tool, I suppose, something to relax and quieten the mind. It's basically a walking meditation, essentially. And that was my tool yesterday. Okay, so let's let this whole thing gently subside. Slow, 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 slow. And eventually it comes to a stop. Gather chi, so put your hands in the earth and lift chi up. Just imagine you can draw the energy through your body. From your head, pour the chi down all the way into your chest. Move it all the way into your belly and locate it in your belly. And then let the hands relax and continue the circuit. So the idea here is that sometimes when you feel dizzy, it's actually the chi moving up into your head that does it. There's kind of excess energy in the head, if you like. And now what we're doing is literally imagining we could put our chi hands through our chi brain like a comb and move the energy downwards, draw it all the way back down to the belly. And as we come to the belly, we just pause for a fraction of a second just to kind of feel the connection, and then let the hands relax down. So the belly is the storage place for all of our energy. But sometimes it can go a bit rogue and it can go zooming up into our head, which leaves us feeling a bit dizzy. So this is the counteracting that. Literally imagine combing the energy out of your head, moving it all the way down through your chest, and then drawing it deep into your belly to store in your belly. And then relaxing the hands and allowing it just to connect with the earth like a circuit. Okay, we're going to do some simple forward and back bends. I'll just turn sideways to make that more obvious for you. Okay, so we'll just gather one more time as we've just done. Hands in the air, lift chi up. And let the chi pour down through our bodies. Move the chi down, drawing deep into the center of your chest, deep into the center of your belly. And then when the hands go down the legs, just follow them down into a gentle forward bend. Keep your knees nice and soft. Gently curl the body over. Doesn't matter where you go to. You just bend over as best you can and let the body hang. So sometimes we have the tendency of keeping our head lifted up. Try to let that relax totally down so the top of the head is kind of pointing down to the ground. So just imagine your foot split into quarters. First of all, we dip gently down towards our toes. And then release that bend. The next line is at the root of your toes, gently towards that. And release. The next line is level with your insteps. So we're just getting a little bit deeper with each bend. And release. And the last one is at the heels. If you're flexible, you can go as deep as you wish here. Just let the body hang and relax. In order to get ourselves standing upright, we maneuver the tailbone. So lift your tailbone so it points right up behind you, up into the blue sky, and then swing the tailbone towards the front of the body and stack the spine up. Try and join your arms and ears together. So we bring those up as a kind of cantilever. Just puts an extra stretch on the nape of the neck. And then stretch up to full height. Beautiful long stretch. You could just release your knees gently forwards, lean backwards. Stretching up and gently back. Stretching up and gently back. stretching up and gently back. Great. Hands up into the blue sky. So we'll just do some simple side bends to complement that. Just let the left hand gently down. Feel the right side of your body open. Right side goes down. And let the left side of the body gently open. Down on the left. And down on the right. Draw the right hand up into the blue sky. Nice long stretch. Okay, so we're going to run through the whole process again from the beginning. So we still keep our soft knees, tipping over just the head, the arms, the ears. When the arms are parallel to the floor, you can start to bend your upper back, the middle back, and the lower back. Let the body relax down. The body hang. Let the knees be soft, totally relaxed on the back of the neck. Tummy tucked in a little bit. Whole body relaxes and hangs. First stretch takes us down towards the toes then. And release. Second stretch is in line with the toes. So roots of the toes. And release. Third stretch is in line with the insteps. And release. And the final stretch is in line with the heels. Great. Just let the body gently hang. So this movement of the tailbone. Point tailbone up behind. Push tailbone to the front of the body. The spine starts to stack up. Join arms and ears together. Gently roll the whole body up. Draw up to full height with a stretch. Good long stretch up. And then release knees and hips forward as you lean back. Stretching up and gently back. Stretching up and gently back. Stretching up and gently back. Lovely. Side bends, left hand down. Right side of the body gently opens. Right hand down. Left hand side of the body opens. Down on the left. And down on the right. Draw hands up above, stretch up into the blue sky. Okay, so we try and stretch our hamstrings out a bit more with the next one. So try and keep your legs completely straight if you can. And then we'll tip over head, arms, and ears. So the back stays straight until the arms are kind of parallel with the floor. And then we arch into the upper back, arch into the middle back, and arch into the lower back. Let the body hang and relax here, but keep the legs straight if you can. So that's locking the knees backwards and just hanging down. And now hopefully your hamstrings are stretching and opening a bit. We can just let the body relax there for a moment and let the hamstrings really open. Perhaps shifting the weight a tiny bit forward to the toes just to feel that extra activation of the hamstrings. Great. Okay, so let's stretch down towards the toes and release. In line with the roots of the toes. And release toward the insteps. Release. Back towards the heels. Nice deep bend. Release and relax. Let the body hang. Tailbone lifts up behind. Tailbone pushes towards the front. Spine rolls up. Head, arms, and ears come up as one. Stretch up into the blue sky. Nice long stretch. Gently backwards as your hips go forwards. And up. 2. And up. 3. and up. 4 and up. Left hand side, bend down. Feel the right side of the body open. Right hand side down. Left hand side of the body open, stretching the spleen open here. Down on the left hand side, compresses the spleen, stretches the liver open. Down on the right side, compresses the liver and stretches the spleen open. So very good for the internal organs. Hands up into the blue sky. We go through for our last time then. The legs as straight as possible, hands up in the blue sky, just the top of the neck, head, arms, ears only, bending over. And then upper back, middle back, lower back, and sinking, relaxing. Back of the neck relaxes, whole body hangs and relaxes, tummy tucks in, legs as straight as possible. Okay, so gently extending towards the toes and releasing. Heading towards the roots of the toes and releasing. Working towards the insteps and releasing. Working towards the heels in a nice deep bend. And relax and release, body hangs. Lift the tailbone to point up into the blue sky behind. Swing tailbone to the front and start to assemble the spine. Join arms and ears together to bring up this cantilever. Draw up to full height and stretch. Knees and hips go forward as you lean back. Stretching up and gently back. Up and back. Up and back. Great. Let's do the left hand side down. Down on the right hand side. On the left. And on the right. Draw the right hand up into the blue sky. Just allow the hands to pour chi down through your body for a moment or two. As if you were standing in a shower of chi. Release the hands gently down the sides. Now we're going to gather some chi. So hands go in the earth, lift up. Imagine a beautiful ball of earth energy, heaven energy mixing perfectly, pouring down through the body. Moving the chi to your belly. And then letting the whole thing flow down your legs into the earth. So again, this idea of brushing the chi down from the head. So sometimes when you do a forward bend, it can make you feel a bit dizzy. And so, or coming up from a forward bend can make you feel a bit dizzy. So we're just, again, rearranging the chi in the body, moving everything back down to the belly, and then connecting in a circuit. Do one more time. I say do one more time. 3 is normally enough, but I mean, if you find you need to do 5 or 10, just keep going with this movement, or just do it whenever you like. It's about calming and settling. And so it would have been a good idea, actually, we'll do one more time and just end up with the hands on the belly. It would have been good for me to remember this exercise yesterday afternoon when I was getting into a bit of a funk. I could easily have kind of just spent 10 minutes doing this and it would have brought me back to a quiet, settled, calm place. But it's about bringing that self-awareness to oneself as quickly as possible. And, you know, I'm not perfect. It still takes time for me to be aware when things are going awry. Just settle the hands onto the tummy, just soften the knees and just stand for a few moments like this. Okay, so now just to say as well, obviously you can do this in a sitting posture. You may already be doing it, but you don't need my permission to sit down or lie down. But if you feel you're going to be better off, sometimes the best thing to do is to try standing for as long as you can. Just have a chair sitting behind you so that halfway through, without sort of disturbing yourself, you can just kind of sit back on the chair and kind of relax and keep going with a sort of deep meditative state. So that's the idea of this morning's class, is to find ourselves in a real quiet mind place. And hopefully the first kind of 20 minutes of exercises have helped gently calm and switch off your mind. These exercises bring us into what's called a chi state, where the mind just gently goes through the exercises and stops thinking about everyday life. You're just doing body things, and it brings you into this kind of settled, quiet place. As we stand here, sometimes the mind will rove off and go off into different places, go and do some shopping, or search out members of your family or whatever it is. You just have to gently haul it back. Just gently, like a small child or a puppy. You have to kind of gently tug on the leash and bring the puppy back. Just bring it back into your head and then just settle it down into your belly. So we just have this kind of like idea of the mind behind the hands, deep inside the tummy. If your mind's up in the head, it's kind of often, up there doing its own thing. But if you bring it into the body, you just imagine that your mind is located behind your hands. You bring all the focus of your attention behind the hands. Then as you focus your attention there, the chi starts to gather there. The more chi you gather deep inside the belly, the more you're able to heal yourself. So we gather vast quantities of energy, and we store them deep in our belly. And the more energy we store there, the more able we are to heal ourselves. So we may use the La Chi exercise today. So I'm just going to change the sound profile on Zoom, if you'll bear with me for one moment, to what's called real sound. It changes the background noise. It doesn't filter out the background noise so much, but what you actually get to hear is my exact tone as we're using this exercise. Okay, so let's look at how we set up our standing posture. Let the hands gently down by the sides. Bring your feet together. So feet together doesn't work for everybody. I have slightly fallen arches, so my feet tend to be heels together and toes a little bit out. Sometimes people have, depending on their knees, they put the toes together and the heels out. But if you can bring your feet completely parallel, that's ideal. Soften down into your knees, just relax the knees. Move your tailbone a tiny bit towards the front. So very often when we stand, our bums stick out and our tailbones point behind. What we're doing here is just moving the tailbone almost so it feels like it's sort of pressing against the back of your legs. And then sit down into your knees. Nice long straight spine. Sometimes we stand with our chin kind of jutting out. So what we're trying to do is to draw the chin backwards towards the spine and lift the top of the head up. So we lift, this point up here is called Bai Hui. We lift Bai Hui up and we draw the chin backwards. Tuck the tailbone forwards. And the net result is that we've straightened out the lumbar curve by tucking the tailbone forwards. And we've straightened out the cervical curve by tucking the chin backwards. So now your spine is as straight as it will ever be. And we try and soften the knees and sit down. Just remind ourselves to keep the knees bent. So this is the standing, this is the starting Zheneng posture, Zheneng Qigong, which is the style that I teach. We're just going to do some simple movements to bring ourselves into the standing posture. This is the opening form for Zheneng Qigong. We just gently turn our palms so they face towards the back. Lift the palms up to 90 degrees and feel the palm open. Really feel that you've got the underside of the palm is open as you lift the palm up. Push the hand forward. It's only a tiny push forward. It's about the length of your hand. And then draw the hand back beside you. Gently push forward and draw the hand back. Once more, gently forwards and back. Let the hands relax down by your sides. Lift a ball of chi out of the earth and bring it up in front of your belly. Middle fingers level with your belly button. Imagine you can stream energy from your middle fingers deep inside your belly. Turn the palms to face the floor. Gather the hands to the sides. Gather the hands round to the back, as if you were holding a ball pressed against the small of your back. We're now imagining chi flowing from the fingertips through the small of the back and deep inside the belly. Bring the hands up underneath your arms to touch a point here called Da Bao. You can find Da Bao just by turning your thumb into a right angle and gently placing it underneath your armpit. When you lift up, your pinky's pretty much on Da Bao. So we're just pressing that point with the middle finger. Now we're imagining the energy from the fingertips can flow into the center of the chest, behind the breastbone. There's an energy field here that we're working with. Fill the middle energy field, full of energy. It supports all of the organs of your body. Gently push the elbows towards the back and release the hands towards the front. They come out to shoulder height and shoulder width. And then you just gently draw back a ball of chi. The middle fingers point back to your third eye. So now we imagine chi flowing from the middle fingers through the third eye, deep into the core of the brain. Let the elbows open to the side. Let the wrists gently follow. Feel the whole body open, out into the blue sky. And the arms become a straight line. We turn the palms to face down. Then a little scoop of the hands, palms turn up. And we gather the hands slowly up over the crown of the head, bringing the hands together in the prayer position. Now we can extend from the heels through the tailbone, along the spine, up into the blue sky. And then let the hands drift down over the crown of the head. Let the hands drift down in front of the face. Let the hands drift down in front of the heart. We make a little ball with our hands, so the fingertips stay touching together. And the circle that we make between our little fingers and our thumbs, that little circle there, just goes over your belly button. So hopefully having the thumbs and the little fingers touching the skin of your tummy and the cage that the other three fingers make. You try and keep a space between them. Inevitably what happens is the fingers kind of collapse down, but try and keep this kind of rounded feeling of this cage as long as you can. We adjust our feet. The instruction is called step on chi, and you'll hear teachers often say that. Step on chi means put all the weight on your heels and open your toes to 90 degrees. And then put all the weight on your toes and open your heels out to parallel. And in this instance, just a bit wider than parallel. Just try and open the heels slightly more than the toes. Bend your knees and you'll feel that sort of knock-kneed stance. So this is our standard. It's called 3 centers merge. So you'll often see it written as 3 cm. It looks like 3 centimeters, but actually it's 3 centers merge. It's a standard Sheneng Qigong meditation stance. Let me just explain a few things about our standing stance. Firstly, it's often called static Qigong, which gives the idea that it's not moving and that you should be like a statue. But that's not true. It's much more like a tree, like a marvelous oak, constantly gently in motion, moving with the breeze, allowing your body to gently move. So you don't have to try and be rigid. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves, oh, just bend the knees a little bit. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves, push the top of the head up into the blue sky. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves, tailbone tucked forward and sitting down. For me, one of the key things is breastbone lifted up. It's very difficult to sort of see, but when I'm standing and I'm being lazy, my chest tends to slightly hollow and my shoulders go forwards, and that creates a pain between my shoulders. So I have to think to myself, lift breastbone up. When I lift the breastbone up, my whole body straightens up, and then the pain between my shoulders goes away. So the standing posture, it allows you to gather more energy than you would normally do. Your knees are lightly bent and your feet are connected to the earth, and that allows all the chi to surge up your legs towards your belly. You have this nice long straight spine with the top of the head pushing upwards. That allows all the heaven chi to pour down into your belly. So we have earth connecting up and heaven pouring down, filling the body with chi. This little device, the ball of chi in front of you, is allowing all the sort of nature chi around you to gather through your hands as well. So it's three centers: feet center moving up, head center moving down, hand center moving in. Three centers merge deep inside your belly. We start to gather all this chi. Remembering that sometimes the stance can, for instance, your feet can be very sore. You think to yourself, oh my God. But practice makes perfect. And sometimes you just have to move your feet. Just think, okay, all right, well, I'm just going to give a little shake out, and then I'm just going to go back to trying again. Sometimes you need to sit down. That's fine. But try and stand as long as you can. Always go to the edge of what you're capable of, and then maybe one more minute. Just think to yourself, I need to sit down now. All right, I'm going to give myself one more minute before I do so. And just see how you get on. It's about gently pushing the boundaries without hurting oneself. So when the body is in this right posture, it starts to collect as much energy as it possibly can. It naturally starts to. But the other aspect, of course, is the mind. What does the mind want to do? Well, if I'm honest, generally speaking, the mind doesn't actually want to be here. It doesn't want to do standing meditation. It doesn't want to do any kind of meditation. It wants to run around and play. The analogy of kind of puppies and children is very good when it comes to the mind. It's an unruly kind of place. So we're constantly just gently drawing the mind back. I have a few tools I use for that. A gentle breath in sometimes helps. So you imagine breathing through your nostrils as if the breath could go straight up through the nostrils and into the center of your brain and kind of illuminate the center of your brain. So you have this lovely sort of breath drawn in straight up into the center of the brain. The whole brain starts to glow. And then when I breathe out, I imagine almost like the brain gets into an elevator and it goes down, down into the chest, down into the belly, and settles itself there. So I kind of use one breath sometimes to bring my mind back. Gentle breath into the center of the head. Gentle exhalation down deep into the belly. And then I just gently breathe, holding my mind, my attention down in my belly for a few moments. And hopefully the mind just settles and stays there. So very often you hear teachers say, bring the mind back to lower dantian. So lower dantian, dantian is the Chinese name for this energy field in your belly. You also have middle dantian and upper dantian, an energy field in the center of your chest, an energy field in the center of your head. But mostly we worked with one in the belly, which is the really key one. You fill the belly with energy and the rest of the system works well. Lower dantian, qi is abundant, gathering there deep in your belly. The more qi you gather, the less can go wrong in your body, the less room there is for chi that you don't need. So very often in Qigong, other types of Qigong, they say bad chi or evil chi or negative chi. We never see it that way. We just think that all chi is just chi. But clearly, there's some chi that's not necessarily useful for you at the moment. It might be useful for you tomorrow, but might not be today. And so we don't think about evil influences or bad chi or these kind of things, which a lot of other old-fashioned systems do. Because that gives it power. That makes it evil by thinking about it like that. So what we just think about is filling the body with positive energy. And that when you fill your body with positive energy, it's not possible for there to be chi left inside your body that's no longer required by your body. So we just have this idea that we fill ourselves with good chi, and the rest takes care of itself. Okay, so now we're going to look at an exercise that helps dissolve problems. So what problem might we be working with? Perhaps you might be working with something simple like a muscle that's sore or a ligament that's torn or something along those lines. You might be working with something deeper like a tumor or an illness like a heart disease or something along those lines. You may have none of the sort of physical symptoms, but you might be working with emotional problems. It's, I think, Ram Dass who used to say, if you think you're enlightened, go and spend a week at Christmas with your family. That's, everybody understands that dynamic. That's a lot of emotions there around family and things that can go wrong. So perhaps we have patterns that we always find ourselves falling into. Perhaps we find ourselves always reacting a certain way with one of our siblings. Why not try and dissolve that idea? Perhaps we have stories we tell ourselves. You'll never be rich, you'll never be good enough, you'll never be successful, you'll never be loved, you'll never be, any number of things we criticize ourselves about. Perhaps we could try dissolving that. On a more practical basis, in Zhejiang Qigong we say, no time, no space. You genuinely believe that. If you believe in quantum science, you'll understand no time, no space. This kind of quantum entanglement. And so on that basis, why not heal a problem meeting that's coming up in the future? Perhaps you have to go and see a doctor on the 24th of September and you're really worried about it. And so why not just take that meeting and dissolve all the bad parts and bring back only good parts? Why not look at the past and think, a bad relationship with your father, your uncle, your mother, whatever it might be. Dissolve that and just bring back happiness into your life. So this idea of this exercise is letting go. So in order to let go of something, we don't want to think about it too much. So the very first step is set your intention. One thought. I have a bad knee. I'm just going to dissolve all the problems around my knee and I'm going to bring back perfect working knees. That's the intention set. And then from then onwards, we just think the whole area around the knees, all problems dissolve, bringing back some fantastic healing energy. Let everything go, bring back healing energy. So I'm not harping on about the fact that I've got a sore knee. All I'm just saying is let the whole area dissolve, bring back amazing healing energy. Because if I keep on saying, my sore knee, my sore knee, my sore knee, I'm really reinforcing the whole problem. So we only just do it once. We set our intention. We sort of say, I'm just going to dissolve this problem between myself and my sister. And then you don't say anymore. You just sort of say like, like let everything go in that part of my life, bring back complete healing for my life, happiness and joy. We're no longer saying sister problems, So it's about it's like an NLP thing, isn't it? It's about really letting go and not harping on about the problem, not reminding your body about the problem. So step one, set intention. Step two, dissolve generally. Bring back happiness, bring back joy, bring back health. And how do we do this? Well, we're just moving our hands apart. So if your hands are still a little ball, you can open them out and you can hold a football just in front of your belly. And then we can draw our hands apart and open them up to the size of a beach ball. And we can gently bring them back together again, football size. It's a very simple movement. Open and close. What does it mean? When you open the hands, you see that problem dissolving. When you close the hands, you can draw fresh energy from the universe back in to heal the problem. So maybe you might want to visualize, the person you're working with between your hands, and then just see the whole thing dissolve and bring back perfect healing energy. Perhaps you might see the part of the body that needs working on dissolving, bringing back perfect healing energy. Sometimes we've had operations and they've taken something out. Why not bring that thing back in perfect working order? So I came across a guy who had his spleen removed and he'd had to take medication for years. And then eventually he started rebuilding his spleen energetically. He was just thinking, well, if anything's made of energy, I'm just going to pretend I've got a new spleen. So when he was doing his Lachi exercises, he was bringing back a perfect spleen in his mind. And eventually he stopped taking his medication till one day the doctor said to him, hey, you haven't been here for 2 years about your spleen. What's going on? He said, oh, don't worry, I've fixed it now. And when they took blood tests, his blood tests were completely back to normal, as if he had a fully functioning spleen. Explain that, doctor. Anyway, so there we go. So he was rebuilding something that needed rebuilding, as opposed to dissolving something that he needed to let go of. So the only thing that's going to limit you in your Lachi exercise, it's called Lachi, which is translates as stretching energy, really. The only thing that's going to limit you is your imagination. Don't get caught up criticizing yourself. Don't get caught up thinking, I'm doing it wrong. Don't get caught up harping on about your problem. Just let the hands gently drift open. And we can say the Chinese word kai as we open our hands. As we close our hands, we can say her. So it's kai and her. Kai means open. Her means close. But kai means let go, dissolve, release, all sorts of ideas like that, as well as just open. And her means bring back, draw in, fill in, fix, I suppose, as well as close. There's so much sort of hidden in the characters in Chinese language. So you can choose to say kai and her with me, or you can choose to just move your hands, or you can choose to just do this in your head without moving your hands. That's the nice thing about it. You can do it sitting on a bus and nobody can know you're doing your Lachi. You don't have to move your hands. You can just imagine your whole body dissolving out into the blue sky and bringing back perfect version of you. When you dissolve something, you'd never bring back the same thing, would you? You let it go. Take it out to the four corners of the universe and then gently draw back and bring all this healing chi into your body. So we'll just do Kai Ha for a little while. high open space. Brings back perfect healing.
Just a few more. Kai. Make the next few more quiet. Last two are just movement, no sound. Then gently bring your hands back onto your belly to form a ball. Holding this ball of chi at lower dantian. As we stand here, we feel that this healing has been complete, total healing. All functions returning to perfect working order. Everything we've worked on is starting to come about. Sometimes takes a little bit of time, sometimes doesn't happen immediately. Sometimes just have to wait for a little while, but just know that the healing has begun, already started. You've set in motion this perfect healing. We can do this, our chi exercise. I do it every day. You can do it for 5 or 10 minutes every day. Do it for an hour every day. It's going to bring around immense healing. It's about changing the way you feel about something. And when you change the way you feel about it, everything in your life changes. Just allow the healing to take place now. Allow your body just to step out of the way. Allow the healing to take place at a deep chi level. Get your mind out of the process. Let the body do its thing. Okay, bring the hands up into the prayer position in front of the heart. So that same instruction, step on chi, means close the feet now because the feet are open. So you just kind of heel toe your way back to a standing posture. Take the hands slowly up in front of the face, up and over the crown of the head, and we can extend up into the blue sky, stretch. And then let the hands gently down over the crown of the head. We can soften the knees a little bit, and then we open up. Little fingers, ring fingers, middle fingers, split the hands apart, down to shoulder height, scooping 2 handfuls of chi, bring them round to the front, shoulder height and width, and then send the chi deep inside the brain. Illuminate your brain inside, every cell in your brain, all functions of your brain, returning to perfect working order. All functions of the brain, normal. Drift the elbows back, draw the hands underneath, lightly touch this point underneath the armpits, dabao. Imagine the chi flowing deep inside your chest. Lower dantian chi is abundant. No, sorry, middle. We're talking about the middle dantian. The middle dantian chi is abundant. Imagine all this chi in the center of your chest. It powers your organs. Send chi into your liver, into your spleen, pancreas, round to your kidneys, heart, and into your lungs. All the major organs working well. All we do is just drift our hands directly behind us. So just go straight behind, pointing to the horizon behind us. Then the back of the hands move forwards. When they're in line with the side of the body, you can just gently flip them over, as if taking a huge wave of chi and pushing it out into the world. And now we're bringing this wave of chi back to ourselves. Left hand first for guys, right hand first for ladies. That was the kind of traditional method. These days, whatever feels right for you. So as you're bringing your hands back, you're imagining this huge ball of chi being pushed back towards the belly. If you feel you'd like to try it the other way, do. I mean, just whatever seems right to you. We just take this ball of chi and we imagine it going deep inside, being compacted deep inside, stored deep inside the lower dantian. So the lower energy field is abundant with chi. Blood and chi are flowing well through the whole body. Feel the body abundant with energy. blood and chi flowing well, all functions of your body returning to perfect working order. Just in a moment, anything can change, anything can heal. Just allow your body to heal now. Allow these changes to take place. Allow your future to be different. Get out of the way and let it all happen. Have faith that this work you have done will really heal your body. All functions of your body, normal. All functions, normal. Turn 3 circles around your belly button. So 3 little circles around the belly button. Normally we go anti-clockwise first time, but it doesn't really matter. And that draws any excess energy back into the core of the body. And then we take 3 circles opposite direction, just telling your body everything's closed down, hold all the energy inside, store it there for when I next need it most. And so we just put our hands back onto the tummy button, put a big smile on your face. As you stand here, you imagine yourself standing in a field of chi. So the first layer of energy around your body is only about an inch around your skin. It's called your Wei Qi layer. It's kind of like a protective shield around your body, all round, front and back and above, below. And then we have about a meter around us is our chi body. A meter in front, a meter behind, above, below, sideways. This fantastic kind of chi field that protects you, but it also connects you into the outside world. So just see yourself inside these wonderful shields, protected, safe, happy, all functions in your body working well. Put a big smile on your face. Slowly release your hands down by your sides. Slowly open your eyes. Move the fingers, move the toes, shift the body, have a little stretch out. So just to finish off what I was explaining about La Chi, you may notice that I ended up sitting down for part of that La Chi exercise because I'm working on my thigh. And so you can actually use your hands right on the part of the body. I mean, working on a leg is great, because you can actually have one hand either side. You can imagine expanding and dissolving all the problem, working, of course, if you're working with a knee, working with a foot, working with perhaps an organ, so you could actually sort of think, if you're working with your spleen, you could have your hands right beside your spleen, working with your liver, perhaps you're working with your lungs, heart, working with your kidneys, more difficult with the kidneys, but you could just imagine, just working with your kidneys like this on one side, then perhaps working with your kidneys on the other side. Not so easy with the kidneys. Perhaps if I was doing kidneys, I'd probably just use my hands in front and imagine the kidneys behind. So you can be very flexible with the head, obviously. Sometimes you might be working with, headache or eye problems or something like that. So why not work with your La Chi directly on that part of the body? And I just thought, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to use my La Chi on my thigh, which I've been working with since a gardening accident. And so, don't be limited. And of course, if we're talking about emotions and things like that, I used to, when my mother was unwell, I used to work with my La Chi on her. And I would just imagine my mum, lying on her bed, and I would just imagine dissolving all of her problems and bringing back perfect healing to her. So, I was using La Chi remotely to kind of help other people as well. And so sending unconditional love, let's say, to someone else, just let their life be better. But just remember, it's the oldest adage from the sort of new healing methods. Put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you go giving your energy to someone else. It's not really giving energy as such, but including someone else in your healing session. So first of all, you have to fix you before you go on to fixing anything else. And realize that you're not the person who's bringing about this healing. All you're doing is allowing that person kind of permission to heal themselves. So you don't become the healer, you just become a kind of like a facilitator of energy, if you like, and then they heal themselves. So if what you're doing is saying, my dad has got a heart problem, I'm going to fix that heart problem, it's the wrong approach. What you're thinking of is this person has a problem, and we're just going to let all of their problems dissolve and bring great energy back into their life. Don't try and think you can change anything, physical like that. You have to allow them to understand how to heal themselves. And so the best thing to do, of course, is to teach people the tool and then to do it with them. And as you see, we can do it on Zoom. So if your dad has a heart problem, you could say, Dad, what we're going to do is this tool that Jeremy's taught me, we're just going to imagine your heart dissolving and all the problems solved and coming back perfectly. Everything good, everything fixed, everything dissolving, everything fixed. And then, work with someone like that rather than doing it remotely. It was just a bit too much to explain to my mum, bless her. Okay, so we finished now. So to finish off our exercises, we always say hao le. Hao le is Chinese for everything is good already. It's like a positive affirmation. Everything is sorted. So we put our hands up in the air. I shout 1, 2, and we say hao le in a vigorous way. If you'd like to join in, you can always unmute yourself now, and then you can be part of the hao le chorus if you like. If not, you can just say hao le to yourself. Okay, so hands up in the air. 1, 2. Ha. 1, 2. Ha. 1, 2. Ha. Oh, lovely. Thank you very much. We've got a little salute we use in Jinen Qigong. You put your right hand kind of in front of your tummy facing upwards, left hand down. You draw the fingers together. You sort of curl the fingers together, and then you put your thumb on top and the thumb underneath. So this is called Hunyuan entirety hands. Thanks very much. Really good to see you guys. And yeah, see you soon.
Thanks, Jeremy. Have a good day.
Cheers. Bye.
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 Bye.